Al?
You know, that would be great.
Good evening. I call to order the regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Burr Ridge for Veterans Day, November 11, 2019. Tonight, we have the honor of being led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Layla Malik. Layla is a fourth grader at Gower West School, and her favorite subject is reading. Her outside activities include dance, swimming. She's in the math club, and she's on the Gower West band and plays the flute. Her hobbies include, again, reading, and she's currently reading The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane by Kate DeCamillo. Her family, her mom is here tonight, Mitha, and her dad is Sanjeev, and she has two sisters, Nadia and Serena. And I believe you're the oldest, right? Okay. Layla, come up and lead us in the pledge, please. Can I push it up? Janet, could you help her? Not working? Good.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I was going to say Madam Clerk, but maybe Mr. Clerk tonight. Would you take the roll?
Trustee Francis.
Here.
Trustee Schiappa.
Here.
Trustee Paveza.
Here.
Trustee Snyder. Here. Trustee Mattal.
Here.
Trustee Model.
Here.
Mayor Grasso.
Here.
7-0.
That takes us to presentations and public hearings for tonight. We have two acknowledgements of service. The first one is for our chief, John Madden. I have a resolution here to read. John, would you stand up, please? Whereas John Madden, on October 1st, 2019, marked his 30th year of employment and service with the Village of Burr Ridge. And whereas John Madden has served as a patrol officer, detective, deputy chief, and chief of the Burr Ridge Police Department. And whereas John Madden was instrumental in the Village of Burr Ridge Police Department receiving the accreditation by the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, better known as CALEA, in 2007. And whereas John Madden graduated from the 265th session of the FBI National Academy Program on September 16, 2016. And whereas John Madden has provided dedicated and exceptional service to the village residents, businesses, and the community at large for over 30 years. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Burr Ridge, Cook and DuPage Counties, Illinois, that John Madden shall hold a place of esteem in the minds and hearts of the residents, businesses, and employees of the village, and is offered our sincere congratulations on the completion of 30 years of service. Adopted this 11th day, Veterans Day, of November 2019 by the Board of Trustees in the Village of Burr Ridge. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved this 11th day of November 2019 by the Mayor of the Village of Burr Ridge. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we have another one. Luke Volpo.
Sergeant Vogel could not be here tonight.
Okay. I think I'll read it anyway, okay?
Great.
Resolution recognizing 25 years of service to the Village of Burr Ridge, Sergeant Luke Volpo. Whereas Luke Volpo did, on October 6, 2019, mark his 25th year of employment with the Village of Burr Ridge. And whereas Luke Volpo has served as a patrol officer, corporal, and sergeant of the Burr Ridge Police Department. And whereas Luke Volpo has also served the Burr Ridge Police Department as an evidence technician and field training officer supervisor. And whereas Luke Volpo has, on various occasions, performed life-saving measures during the normal course of his duties. And whereas Luke Volpo has provided dedicated and exceptional service to the village residents, businesses, and community at large over the past 25 years. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Burr Ridge, Cook and DuPage Counties, Illinois, that Luke Volpo shall hold a place of esteem in the minds and hearts of the residents, businesses, and employees of the village, and has offered our sincere congratulations on the completion of 25 years of service. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And adopted this 11th day of November 2019 by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Burr Ridge. Thank you. Okay, that takes us to item 3B, a public hearing, amendment to annexation agreement, SIA 15W460 North Frontage Road.
As noted in your staff summary for this meeting, village staff is asking that this hearing be continued to the November 25th board meeting.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Item 4, the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda, discussed by the board, opened for public comment, and voted upon during this meeting. 5, minutes A, approval of regular board meeting of October 14, 2019. B, approval of special board meeting home rule workshop of November 5, 2019. C, receive and file Veterans Memorial meeting of September 25, 2019. D, receive and file Plan Commission meeting of November 4, 2019. E, receive and file Economic Development Committee meeting of November 6, 2019. 6, ordinances, approval of ordinance granting an amendment to Planned Unit Development Ordinance Number A, 834-2505, to amend the approved facade elevation of the subject property Z17-2019 582 Village Center Drive, Hassan. B, approval of an ordinance amending section 8B2W of the Burr Ridge zoning ordinance to add birthing center as a special use in the B1 business district, Z07-2019 text amendment birthing center. C, approval of an ordinance granting a special use for a birthing center in a B1 business district, Z07-2019 7000 County Line Road, Wiegand. 7, resolutions. A, approval of resolution recognizing 30 years of service to the Village of Burr Ridge Police Chief John Madden. B, approval of resolution recognizing 25 years of service to the Village of Burr Ridge Sergeant Luke Volpo. C, adoption of resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Burr Ridge and Cook County for the provision of environmental health inspection services. 8, D, acknowledgement of withdrawal of Plan Commission petition Z16-2019 7500 Hamilton, Moscow. E, approval of recommendation to award contract for underground boring for fiber link connection to Puritano Construction in the amount of $6,800. F, approval of recommendation to award change orders and release retainage for the County Line Road at Deer Path Trail Storm Sewer Improvement Project to Unique Plumbing Company, Inc. of Brookfield, Illinois for the final contract amount of $290,046.10. G, approval of request for aging care connections for annual donation to provide support and services to Burr Ridge, Cook County residents. H, approval of vendor list dated October 28, 2019 in the amount of $756,577.41 for all funds, plus $375,601.05 for payroll, for a grand total of $1,132,178.46, which includes special expenditures of $37,560 to Curry Motors for a 2020 Ford utility police vehicle, $21,346.72 to Desidero Landscaping for tree removal, $22,904.50 to Patrick Engineering for Phase 3 of the Burr Ridge Parkway project, $101,851.94 to JX Truck Center for the Peterbilt truck, $44,484.17 to Unique Plumbing for the County Line Road and Deer Pass Stormwater Project, and $410,417.46 to Section Plumbing and Heating for water main replacement. And I, approval of vendor list dated November 11, 2019 in the amount of $213,156.48 for all funds, plus $186,392.49 for payroll, for a grand total of $399,548.97, which includes special expenditures of $24,115 to Kramer Tree Specialist for fall brush pickup, $55,343.60 to Orange Crush LLC for the 2019 road program, and $30,168.55 to Thomas Engineering Group for the 2019 and 2020 water main replacement project.
Please remove 6A.
Can I have a motion to approve the following items on the consent agenda? Items 5A through E, 6, B, and C, 7, A, B, and C, 8, D through I.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those pass. Okay, that takes us back to item 6A, ordinances, approval of ordinance granting an amendment to Planned Unit Development Ordinance A 834-2505 to amend the approved facade elevation of the subject property Z 17-2019, 582 Village Center Drive, Hassan. Trustee Mata.
Oh, yes, thank you. I asked to have it removed simply because, as I mentioned at the last meeting, they donated to my campaign, and I don't want any appearance of impropriety, so I would rather recuse myself from voting on something that may be perceived as benefiting a donor. Thank you.
Can we get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. It's an ordinance, you need a roll call.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Paveza.
Yes.
Trustee Snyder.
Yes.
Trustee Francis.
Yes.
Trustee Chiappa.
Yes.
Trustee Matal.
Yes.
5-0?
5-0.
That passes. Okay. That takes us to considerations. 8A, presentation of proposed 2019 tax levy.
Yes, it's that time of year again, budget season, as well as snow season. But it's in November of each year, we begin the budget process with the proposed 2019, or proposed tax levy. And I will turn it over to Finance Director Jerry Sapp to present to the board and to the public the 2019 proposed tax levy.
So the 2019 tax levy is the first step of our annual budget process. We proposed it in November. We adopted in December by public hearing and an ordinance. The levy, it's levied and collected by the county assessor in 2020, and we receive it as part of our fiscal year 2021 budget. The tax levy is comprised of three separate levies. The corporate and the police pension, police protection levy, those are general fund revenues that go for general governmental services and police services. The police pension levy is the employer contribution to the police pension fund. The steps for calculating the levy under the Illinois property tax cap. First, we estimate what our equalized assessed valuation, our EAV, is. Then we calculate the limiting rate. That's the rate we are imposed upon under the tax cap. From then, we determine what dollars are available for the tax levy by applying that rate to our estimated EAV. And then off the top, we allocate the police pension levy per our statutory requirements. And any remaining dollars go into the corporate and police levy, which is the general fund revenue. So estimating the equalized assessed valuation, we first take our 2018 actual levy, which came in at about $1.2 billion. We put a couple of factors in there, 2% for existing value and 4% for new construction. So that gives us an estimated $1,272,000,000 for estimated EAV. If you look at the 10-year chart, we've remained pretty stable over the years, except for the dip after post-recession, where countywide there was a drop-off in property taxes in both counties. To calculate the limiting rate under the tax cap, this is a formula that's provided to us by the county, the limiting rate formula. What it does, it allows taxing districts to receive a limited inflationary increase on existing values, property values, and then also a factor for any additional amount for new construction. That's the 2 and the 4% you saw on the previous slide. And by taking the calculation this year, we've estimated our limiting rate will be 0.1017, which can be classified as 10 cents per $100 of EAV. And once again, there's a 10-year chart on here. Shows a fairly stable tax rate, except in 2014-15, as we were coming off of our Bedford Park water main project bonds, that was on the tax bill. That typically would add 0.05 cents onto a tax rate. So, taking those factors in account, we come up with a total levy dollar of $1,293,764. So, and right off the top, 60% goes into the police pension fund of $778,097, and the other $515,000 gets put into the corporate police protection levy, which is general fund revenues. That was a total increase of $72,034, or a 5.9% increase. The next two slides kind of show the impact of the taxpayers on Burr Ridge. As you can see from the chart, the majority of the taxes go to the school districts. And the village's levy represents less than 2% on every tax dollar of the resident's tax bill. Another slide here shows an example of a $600,000 home in Burr Ridge. In this example, you see in 2018, our tax rate was 0.1080, and it went down to 0.1017, and taxes were decreased. It's a mechanism of, higher EAV with a larger pool of, properties to tax. And on both counties, you can see, the tax rate, total tax dollars would go down. So the proposed tax levy for 2019, in total of $1,293,764, which is $72,034 higher. in tax levy dollars, limiting rate of 10 cents per $100 of EAV. Next step is to have a public hearing on truth and taxation at the next board meeting of December 9th. And it's our recommendation that this proposed tax levy be accepted. And we prepare the notice for the public hearing. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do any of the board members have any questions?
Yes. You mentioned that on page 9, you said the total tax dollars went down, but that was just an example of that house's taxes
Correct.
went down. Our total tax dollars did not go down. We actually took it.
Well, the monies come in and go up, but typically when you have a decreasing tax rate like that, going from 0.1080 to 0.1017, then on the tax bill, that rate would go down. I mean, it becomes a mechanism if your property values are increasing and you have a lower tax rate, you know, it may go up a little bit or it may go down a little bit.
Right, I just wanted to clarify that we're bringing in as much, if not more money in the levy than we did before. We're not actually reducing our levy in any way whatsoever.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So Jerry, the tax levy though is, we're kind of required to vote for it, right? This is the calculation from the various counties from Cook and DuPage.
Correct.
There's nothing the board members can do to raise that or lower it, right?
No, you are on the limiting rate I spoke of earlier. That is a calculation provided by the county to calculate what your rate is going to be.
Right, so it's somewhat, to use a word, dictated to us, right?
Yes.
So if in fact it ends up being a tax increase and the 6 trustees vote for it, can they be said to have increased taxes? I mean, would some uninformed person argue that if someone votes for the tax levy, they're raising taxes?
You would have brought in more tax dollars, but as far as increasing on an individual taxpayer, as you can see, our rate went down.
Right.
That taxpayer's home was new improved property, and it was a higher EAV. You know, that the mechanism of property values would raise their taxes.
Right, but it's the counties that are dictating this tax rate that this
Correct.
board and these trustees have to approve.
Correct.
They really can't say no, right?
As long as we're non-home rule.
Right? Okay. I just wanted to be clear.
Just to clarify on that point, the increase in the total levy that the village realizes is primarily through new growth. So if you add $1 billion addition onto your house, you're going to pay more taxes, and we're going to see more revenue from that. That plus just the inflationary adjustment of 1.9%.
Right. Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, Mike?
Mr. President of Board, under the Truth and Taxation Act, you are required to estimate your tax levy. As you've just gone through this process tonight, at least 20 days before you adopt your tax levy ordinance. So I would ask that the board approve a motion estimating the 2019 tax levy in the amount of $1,293,764. Once again, that's an estimate, it's not binding on you, and you're going to have to vote on an ordinance, which is your actual tax levy ordinance, at your December 9th meeting. So if somebody could make that motion, you need to have that in your record.
Okay.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Skiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Paveza?
Yes.
Trustee Maital?
Yes.
Trustee Model?
Yes.
6-0.
6-0, the motion passes. Thank you for that clarification, Michael. Thank you. 8B, consideration of Plan Commission recommendation for special use approval of automobile sales, rental, and service, Z20 2019 16W260 83rd Street, O'Day.
This staff is still investigating some of the conditions in terms of the approval of the recommendation by the Plan Commission, and we would like to ask that this be tabled for 2 weeks. We've talked to the petitioner, he's aware of that, and he had no objection to it being tabled to the November 25th meeting.
Can I get a motion to table item 8B to the November 25th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. HC, discussion of new business, grand opening banner program.
Yes, I'd like to ask Evan, Assistant Village Administrator Evan Walter, to present this.
Thank you, Doug. This is item 8C before you. This is a new business welcome banner program. This is something that was born out of the ongoing business license discussions that is occurring at the EDC at this time. This is something that staff had thought of and wanted to bring to the EDC as a service enhancement to our businesses, or at least our incoming businesses that coming into the village of Fur Ridge. This is a recommendation coming through the EDC to create a new business welcome banner program. Under this program, Bannerville USA, they're a village business located here in the village. They'd create a 2-by-5 foot vinyl banner to be erected on the property of a new business. We have included a sample rendering of what that would look like should they be approved. For the donation of the sign, and again, this would be cost-free donation to the village, Bannerville has agreed to donate the banner provided that they may provide a simple flyer in our new business packet that we provide to every new business. And inside of that packet is things like how to sign up for a water account with the village, who to talk to if you have an issue with code issues, if you have any specific questions about economic development or expansion or permitting. All those programs are listed in the new business packet, and included in the packet, should this be approved, is something from Bannerville, a simple flyer advertising their products. But again, the arrangement would be to work with Bannerville, the village sign company, to create this banner, to put it on the property of a new business coming into town. This would be attached to a set of posts or maybe attached to the building itself. Staff would be in charge of setting it up, as well as working with the business owner to take down the banner. Again, we've included a sample template in the packet for your approval. Again, the Fur Ridge sign ordinance permits grand opening banners not to exceed 12 square feet for a period of 14 days. This is a 10 square foot banner, and we would be making sure that the banner came down within that 14-day time period. Again, this has no direct cost to the village aside from staff time. We're looking for a motion to approve this business sign program, banner program, I should say. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? Yes, Al?
After looking at it, it's temporary to announce the opening of a new business. I was just wondering if it's big enough.
This was a kind of a standard size that Bannerville had made. We wanted to, again, make it not too impactful on them. The next size up would be too large per our sign ordinance rules. It'd be something like 20 square feet. It would also be somewhat unwieldy to set up a 4-by-5 square foot sign. So 2-by-5 would be fairly good sized. It would also allow for exposure from the street, while also being in compliance with our sign ordinance regulations.
Yes,
I
Ken.
think this is a great idea. We need to do all we can do to help these new businesses in our community, to welcome them, to get the word out to our residents, to our employees in the community, that this business is here and here to stay, and that they'll provide a valuable asset to the community. So I support this.
Anyone else? Yes, Tom?
I agree, and it shows that Fur Ridge is friendly to the businesses coming into the village, and we welcome them, and we're pleased to announce them. So I'll motion for the new business grand opening banner program.
Second.
Any other discussion? Yes, Joe?
Can they, with this new banner book, can you add something to our website, like Fur Ridge welcomes on the website, so another thing, add it up and coming back to them, bring to their storefront, they can see their banner up?
Yeah, we're planning to do pictures of all of these, either with just staff or if a business owner, of course, we'd like to meet them and get to know them and introduce ourselves. So we do plan on collecting some photos of that and making sure that they're published on our website, in the office here somewhere, just something to advertise the growing community that we have here in the business. So, very good point. Thank you.
I think it's a great idea. It's like an extension of the ribbon cutting ceremony.
And it's, more visible for a longer period of time. Yeah.
And then if you have it on the web presence as well.
Yeah, good idea. All right, there's a motion, there's a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Okay, that takes us to item 9, public comment. Is there any public comment tonight? It can be public comment on any item, even if it's not on the agenda. Is there any public comment? Okay, reports and communications from village officials. Any? Yes, Al?
The only thing I would bring up again, so people know, if I'm not mistaken, Secretary of State will be here on Wednesday, the 13th, is it?
Right,
So if you've got any Secretary of State business, why go out of your way when they'll be right here in this room handling your requests and problems?
Right, that's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. here in this room at the Village Hall on Wednesday, the 13th.
Yeah, November 13th.
November 13th.
Yes.
I want to comment on Al's reminder about the Secretary of State. If any of the residents has gone through the real ID process at the Secretary of State's office, it's very tedious and time-consuming. And if you could knock that out here in the village as opposed to...
Yeah, and I was just about to say, that's one thing they won't do.
They won't do it.
They won't do it. So not only that, don't assume, just to dovetail on what you've said, because I did go through the process.
I did too.
Don't assume that every office that is run by this Secretary of State will do a real ID. Better call in advance because many of them don't. That's number one. Number two, while the office hours are usually posted till 5 p.m., they are often closing down the real ID line at about 3 and 3:30. Because the lines are as long as you indicate. So it is it is a very tedious process, and you have to make sure you have all of your different forms of ID. And they list items on the wall that are not acceptable to prove your ID. I found it interesting, Chief, that one of the things you cannot use to identify yourself is a FOIA card.
I remember when I went in for my real ID, I had an original birth certificate that I found, and that wasn't good enough for them. I had to take it back and get that birth certificate certified. So for the real ID, they're real particular on what information you bring them.
Jingle Mingle on Friday?
Yeah, you guys are stealing all my announcements. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, Jingle Mingle is this Friday, November 15th.
I didn't know.
Yep.
I had that planned.
No, it's fine. So just let me run through a couple of things I have, unless there's any other trustees that have any announcements.
EDC event tomorrow?
Yes. So, let's start with that one. There's an EDC event. We want as many people to show up as possible. It starts at the Hampton Social at 3 p.m. It's intended to start introducing more and more people to our lovely village center. And it's going to be a traveling event tomorrow. I don't know exactly how many places, but join us at 3 p.m. at Hampton Social to start the event off. It's from 3 to 6. As Trustee Francis just said, Jingle Mingle is this Friday, November 15th, at the Village Center. Starts at 5:30, runs to 7:30, and the parade is at 6:30. It's usually a great event. Hopefully it won't be too cold, so please come on out for that. We've talked about the Secretary of State. Veterans Day was observed today in the Village Hall with the Memorial, followed by lunch. It was attended by village officials, residents, businesses, and employees. There were about 35 people, I heard. It was a decent showing for a terrible day of weather. Chief, I'm going to ask you to explain a little bit more about what I'm about to say. Chief invited me to the COPS. Remember we talked about it, where Burr Ridge had a pretty big role. Thank you for inviting me because I was pretty impressed. It's an all-weekend affair. Jim Peterick was there and was saying, guess what? I am a tiger. And he presented the guitar and his autographed and that designed guitar, which was designed by another individual.
An artist named, I forgot his last name, Rich, he's out of Roselle.
Right, so he designed it and Jim signed it, and at silent auction, I think I'm okay to say this, it brought $1,800.
Correct.
Into the organization. So, and then probably for me at least, and I'm sure for everybody there, the strongest moment, at least that morning, was the list that just seemed to go and go of all the first responders that had made the ultimate sacrifice just in 2019 from around the country. So tell us a little bit more, tell everybody again about COPS, because it's such a great organization.
Well, COPS is an acronym for Concerns of Police Survivors, and what you attended was the opening ceremony for the National Conference on Wellness that they have every year. It was well attended, I think about 658 attendees, and they took over the hotel, the Doubletree Hotel in Oak Brook. So COPS is a great organization. We have a sergeant, Sergeant Mike Barnes, who's part of the Illinois COPS chapter, but he's also performs a critical duty. He's part of a group of about 8 officers that respond to line of duty deaths throughout the state. So what they do, they're the critical incident response team. They respond and they assist the agency where the officer was employed, and they assist the family. There's a lot of benefits that a family receives when a spouse is killed in the line of duty, and it's most importantly, it's critical to get the paperwork filled out. Sometimes there's a 36-hour to 72-hour window on some of the federal benefits the family can receive. So they break the team down and they perform all these critical functions because the department's devastated, the family's devastated, and the last thing they're going to be thinking about is what benefits can we get. So they go, they respond, they take care of the department, they set up the funeral, and they coordinate everything. It's a heck of a job they do. It takes special people to do that too. Unfortunately, they've been pretty busy in 2019 with the state police, especially the first quarter of the year. So I'd like to add, get the guitar brought in $1,800, but I'm also very proud of the officers in our department. It's No Shave November, although I'm not participating, but the officers pay $50 and then to not shave, which I waive the policy, and they've raised $1,600 themselves.
Wow.
Which I presented at the banquet dinner Saturday night. So it was a very good weekend. Very proud of the officers.
Great, it's great.
Thank you for attending. It was
Yeah,
Mr. Peter did a great job too.
Sure.
One more thing on that. We owe great thanks to Jan Cole as well.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Janet puts all her talent into this, and I think she puts a lot of passion into it too.
So Janet was there most of the week, behind the scenes, helping them set up, yes.
Also, watch there's still a veto session a couple weeks from now down in Springfield. One of the things that we're still watching is the Illinois Pension Consolidation Amendment. We've been reaching out to our legislators about it. It looks like the unions have asked for the compensation of the board to change. Instead of having 8 people, 4 from management, 4 from labor, they want a 5th member from labor. Looks like the governor's going to give them that. But at least we'll have a consolidated pension board, which I think, as Jerry and I have been running the numbers, we know there's studies that show that if we had a consolidated pension board for the last 10 years, there would be $1 billion more in that pension program statewide than there is today. Well, that is what it is. And so hopefully we're getting at least slowly back to some better management of our pension systems, which is our hugest issue in municipal government around the state. A couple of other things. I gave all the trustees copies of trustee models, recent emails for you to study. I have been speaking to each of you individually. I am going to be bringing forward to the 5 of you a proposed letter to trustee Model about his emails and a possible resolution of censure at the November 25th meeting. Any other announcements? Yes.
Well, upon reading the packet, I was disappointed and frankly disgusted with the language used to describe our world-class staff. In the packet, Trustee Model had asked questions of the staff, which the staff provided thorough and accurate information to his requests, and because it was not what he wanted to hear, he unleashed threatening and demeaning rhetoric. The language you use should not and will not be tolerated. Your effort to find information empty-handed is not a justification to describe a village employee as insubordinate or incompetent. And your threats and names are unfounded, and you should apologize to the staff.
Well, it'll be 2 weeks between now and then. We'll see what happens. All I can say is I've had the great privilege of holding office in this village, and I've been on the county board, I've been on the EDC board, I've been on the 911 board, the Board of Health for DuPage County. All of those boards and all the people that are elected often get praise that really is attributable to the staff. And I can just tell you that we have a great village administrator, we have a great village clerk, we have a great director of finance, and we need to support these people. They work very hard for us. They make us look good. And this has to be considered between now and the 25th. I'll have some recommendations for you, and we'll go from there and hope things get better.
And I would like to make a comment. Thank you. So I'm troubled by this packet as well because it's incomplete. You've only released portions of my comments. You haven't also released the FOIA documents and things. You know, I took an oath of office here when I was sworn in to uphold the local, state, and federal laws. I have a fiduciary duty to the taxpayers as well as to the town, and I take that seriously. I've been asking for information on these issues and others for months. When you were first elected, Gary, I called and spoke with Doug, and he instructed me that he would no longer be responding to my emails, he would no longer be answering my questions, and any time I called or sent a note, it would be reported to you. Now, I am a duly elected trustee of this village. I'm entitled to my opinion, my prerogative, and when I can't get, those answers are not complete and correct, they were misleading, they are incomplete, and they are incorrect. And quite frankly, I think that there may have been some lies. So I am entitled to my opinion, and I am entitled to get the information that I need to uphold my oath of office and to fulfill my fiduciary duty to the town. When I can't get that information, when I am blocked, when I am distorted, when the information that comes back is not true and I am forced to FOIA it and I find out that there was things that weren't true, when I find out that there were tax fraud that occurred that was not reported, and when I said that there was an investigation occurring, Doug, I am aware that you've been contacted by investigators from at least one investigative body, if not several of them, in the last 90 days. Either Illinois Department of Revenue, Illinois Liquor Commission, possibly the state's attorney, and possibly federal prosecutors. Did any one of those four contact you in the last 90 days?
No.
Illinois Liquor Commission, Illinois Department of Revenue.
No.
I have documents that prove otherwise.
Well, then you bring them.
And so I'm entitled, Gary, and so I'm entitled to
get your FOIA.
Let me finish, Gary. I'm speaking. Thank you. I have the floor. Thank you.
No, you don't.
I'm still speaking. And so I made my information clear, and I was taking care of this privately with staff, privately talking with trustees, trying to collect information and bring it forward in a thoughtful manner. Mm-hmm. You have now acted to engage in a personal vendetta against me. You have seek to bully me and silence me. I am essentially a whistleblower, and what you're trying to do is censure me, silence, and bully me with this video.
We will put the emails out there. And we'll
all of the emails
and
all the FOIA
responses,
including
that
from
you made,
donors.
give the FOIA requests that you made, and you've been responded to.
All
the fact
FOIA
is that you don't like the fact that you're not getting information that you thought was there. and was never there.
I see
And you
what's
make
there.
accusations.
I see
I've
what's
asked the
there,
police
Gary, and I
chief-
don't like it, and I'm still
I've
not
asked the
done
police
with it.
chief to engage you.
I'll be speaking to the state's
and-
attorney, Gary,
Well,
and if
go
you keep
ahead.
going in this direction, I think you're bringing
Go.
legal peril to
Please
the
do
village.
it, because all you do is make accusation, and you have no
Gary,
proof.
I'm doing this privately, you're the
Just
one who's brought this in the public
Just
sphere.
do it.
I've been working on this quietly, I've been
You
trying to
haven't worked
collect
on anything
information.
quietly. You have insulted staff.
Well, when they
You
don't
have
respond to my
threatened them with
emails, they tell me
jobs.
that they're not
You
gonna
have
do
called them
anything and they
incompetent.
lie. I
You
am
have
entitled
called
to
them
my opinion.
names. You have acted immaturely.
I'm
You have been
entitled to my
given
opinion,
information
Gary. I'm a
accurately
duly elected
every time.
trustee.
You are a duly elected trustee,
And
Zach,
there's
and you should
nothing in
act
the Illinois
better
Election
than the
Code
way
that gives
you've
you
been
the authority
acting.
to do this.
Okay, you shouldn't be acting.
Do
the
not
way you
bully
are.
me and do not
No
threaten
one's
me.
bullying you.
That's what you're
We're
doing.
bringing out the improper way that you treat people.
I think you've
And I
behaved
think you
improperly.
have a history of
I
it.
think you have behaved improperly. You've given
Well,
improper
yes.
favors to your, we'll get into it. We will
Yeah,
get, the facts will
please.
come out.
I've asked the chief to sit down with you, I've asked the deputy chief to sit down
And
with
the
you
chief said that
and
this is a
explore
voluntary
every
behavior.
one of your imaginations, okay? And if it leads somewhere, to report to the board. I've instructed him to do that today, okay?
I've already
So,
spoken
so
to the
you
chief.
put up, or at least, or you be quiet.
I would like to have my
Okay.
full information provided. So are you going to
You
allow
are.
me to use the
You
attorney
have
and
all
staff
information.
to come after me? I would like to have the same resources provided to me to
I
make my
did not.
case. I need a fair hearing here.
You'll get a fair hearing. You'll get one. I've asked them to give you all the FOIA stuff. You asked for, what, 6 FOIA requests in the last 6 weeks?
I've been receiving them, and they prove that Doug and Jerry were not forthright with information
Well,
to me.
then
in my
I think
opinion.
you should bring that forward at a board meeting if you
I
feel that way.
I will do that, Gary.
Okay?
I was working.
Rather
on this
make
quietly.
accusations,
You are the one who
prove
brought
it.
this to this sphere, Gary. You're the one who's done this.
No, you have, and I'm calling you out on it,
You can't make it through a meeting
Okay.
without yelling at me, Gary.
right? I'm calling you out on it, Zach. Prove it or be quiet.
I will, Gary.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anybody else? All right. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.